If Joshua's worried about Jill, I should go and speak with him. Joshua, I read your message. And you're right. Jill is different. I don't think I'd realized how different, but since we returned from Drake's spine, I've felt it more and more.
I suppose it's not hard to imagine why.
She doesn't think she belongs anymore.
And that's why we need to remind her she is still one of us. To let her know that we still need her. Now more than ever, that you still need her. But how to do that? When last we were truly close, we were but children.
Of course. Do you remember the time we accompanied Father on his annual tour of the Duchy? And Jill and I broke from the procession to ride up Man's Hill.
To see the snow daisies, I remember. It was the first time Father had allowed us to join him. And when he realized you were missing, he had the entire retinue down to the pot boys combing the countryside.
In the rain. A thunderstorm forced us to take refuge in a grove of oaks before we'd even made it halfway there. It was the Lord Commander who finally found us, and needless to say, he was none too pleased.
Then it seems you and Jill have unfinished business. What do you say?
Man's Hill. It's not that far.
Oh, true. Though I suspect it is also much changed. Little in southern Rosaria remains as it was when we were children.
You're saying I should go and scout the area for bandits?
I'm saying we should first go and see if there are actually still any snow daisies left. What would you do without me, Clive?
This is the place, but...
I'm sorry, Clive.
There's nowhere been spared. What do we do now?
We keep looking. Man's Hill cannot be the only place where snow daisies grow.
Perhaps, but... it's the only place I know of. Knew of.
Then why not ask someone who might know of another?
Someone at the backyard? To the hideaway, then. Let's hope one of the gardeners knows where to find snow daisies.
Say what you will. Lady Karen has seen us. This should tide us over to it.
What brings you down from the heavens, Sid?
I need your advice. Joshua and I are looking for a place where snow daisies grow. Preferably in abundance.
Snow daisies. Then you'll want somewhere not too hot and not too cold. And where the winds are strong enough to carry the seeds. I reckon Man's Hill would be a good place to start. There in the Royal Meadows, perhaps? Both have similar climbs and the right elevation. If the Blight hasn't claimed them yet.
Right. Thank you.
Did you learn where we might find our flowers?
The gardener here mentioned the Royal Meadows in Sambrak.
Ah, the fields beyond Northreach. Well, if that's the case, then Yote was right. I recalled that she kept a record of our travels, you see. So I asked her if she'd perhaps noted anywhere that snow daisies grew, and she mentioned Oilefeist Bay.
Whose shores border the meadows. Off we go then.
And now my... Up the garrison today. What you got?
Those things didn't fight like men.
Let's go. Fly, Ambrosia.
Have care.
The meadows are vast. Where do we even start?
Yote mentioned the coastline. We can start there.
this is the last one.
Only one way to find out.
That was harder than I expected. But found her. It was worth it. They're beautiful.
Do you think Jill will like them?
She'll love them. Come on. Let's go.
It appears my work is done. The rest, as they say, is up to you. Well, you and the skies. We wouldn't want another thunderstorm now, would we?
Jill, there's something I'd like to show you.
There is? And where might this something be?
It's, not here. Now, I know this is sudden, but how would you fancy a trip to Oriflamme?
There are so many. This is what you wanted to show me. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. The smile on your face is enough. We've been worried about you, Joshua and I. Do you remember when I took you to Man's Hill? Or tried to?
How could I forget? You saw me crying and thought a change of scenery might lift my spirits. In the end, it earned me a nasty cough and a stern scolding from your mother. But I felt wonderful nonetheless.
I'm sorry. I had no idea what I was getting us both into. But I couldn't bear to see you like that.
Before we left, my chambermaid told me she'd overheard your mother talking about my marriage prospects with some of the noblewomen at court. They were debating whether it would be more profitable to marry me off to one of the high houses instead of saving me for the ducal line. No one thought to ask me what I wanted. I was nothing to them. A pawn at best. I felt so trapped. So lonely.
I didn't know.
But I wasn't alone. You were there. Your hand in mine as we ran for those oaks. And I knew then, no matter what happened, I would be all right. I'll never forget that feeling. Before we broke camp, the morning after the storm, do you know what I did?
No? What?
I slipped away from my governess to climb the tor. And from there I saw a sea of petals, all reaching for the sun. And I realized that no matter how terrible the night, dawn would always come. That you would always come for me. And you have. Again and again.
Where do you see us? When all this is over?
I don't know. Not here, though. I think I've outgrown the twins. After everything we've been through, the realm just seems so small. I'll need some space to spread my wings.
Then that's what you'll have. And I'll stop at nothing to see that you do.
I never was much good at garlands, but it'll have to do.
I'll treasure it forever.
Thank you, Clive. For this, the flowers, for everything. It's exactly what I needed. You are my treasure. We should probably be getting back. I expect the others are wondering where we are.
You're right. There's still much to do.
And we'll do it together.
Oh, that blasted book! Here, you put me in this situation, Clive. You can bloody well get me out of it. I need a hand with a recipe.
Are you sure it's me you're looking for? I'm not much of a cook.
I'm all the cook will be needing, thank you very much. What I want from you is a little of your time, right? Oh, and perhaps your sword. You remember Ivan's stew, right? Well, despite the look of the thing, and that awful stench, people wolf it down. So I thought I'd try making one of these supposed masterpieces myself. Had a peek at the book and gave it a go, but, well...
It wasn't as straightforward as you'd hoped. Ivan had the same problem.
Yeah, but this is my blooming kitchen, and I will not be outdone. So if you don't want to be seen as playing favourites, I suggest you lend me a hand.
I've never been one to play favourites, Molly. And I would be only too happy to lend you a hand. So, what's on the menu this time?
A fried mortress of skyworm. That's one heck of a name, innit? Recipe seemed easy enough to an old hand like myself. Thought I'd followed it to a T. Only, turns out skyworm livers and drake's mint are not what I thought they were. At least I hope they're not, given the rancid mess they made.
Ivan said the recipes in the culinary pilgrimage date back centuries. Who's to say the ingredients even exist anymore?
Well, that's a question for a scholar, wouldn't you say? Perhaps you know of one? Kindly old fella who haunts the shelves, maybe?
Fine. I'll go and speak to Harpocrates. Perhaps he'll know something. And if he does, I'll see if I can find your ingredients for you.
You do that. Lest we forget, you've got a reputation to uphold.
Lawsman Harpocrates. I've come to pick your brain if you don't mind. It's about the book you lent Ivan.
Ah, Valisthea, a culinary pilgrimage, a classic. One of my favorites, in fact. The young man did a wonderful job with the Chance's stew. I do hope we shall be able to sample more such marvels in due course.
That's actually why I'm here. I don't suppose you know where I might find skyworm livers and drake's mint.
Ah, so the fabled Sandbrequois delicacy is next on the menu. Delightful. The descriptions of fried mortress never fail to make my mouth water. Now, skyworm is a somewhat antiquated name for the wyvern, their ground livers being the paste from which the mortress is made.
Dragon livers. How very Sandbrequois.
One would have thought the disciples of Bahamut would have a touch more reverence for their icon's brethren, but apparently not. I believe the specific dragon the recipe demands is the blueback wyvern. said to be the very color of the sea beside which it resides.
So we know where to look for our liver. But what about the drake's mint?
Saint's bonnet in contemporary parlance, a herb which grows along the North Reach coast. I gather that one can locate the cheerful yellow flowers by their heady scent alone, so I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding them. I may add that people once believed game was best served with the flora that sustained it in life, in which regard fried mortress of skyworm is undoubtedly a typical dish of the time.
Meaning that if I find one, I find the other. To Northreach, then.
Best of luck, Clive. And do save me a bite once the dish is complete.
And how might I help the garrison today?
Haven't seen any of those beastly blue-eyed... Do be careful.
I will.
Get surrounded. Hippocrates said I should be able to find what I'm looking for somewhere nearby. Bright blue dragons and bright yellow flowers. Should be easy enough to spot. Now that is heady. This must be the Drake's Mint. That just leaves the Skyworm. Be our wyvern. All right. Let's get this over with. Nice try. I think that's everything Molly needs to resurrect her recipe. Better head back.
So, did you have that word with Tomes then?
I did, and he was as helpful as ever. He told me exactly where to look, in fact.
And what precisely will I be cooking up? Or is it better not to know?
Blueback wyvern liver. And, a herb known as Saint's Bonnet.
Ah, wyvern livers, was it? Well, at least it weren't actual worms, I suppose. Now then, you stay right where you are. I've got some cooking to do. Let's hope these grand old chefs of yore knew what they were on about. And here we have it. Fried mortress of skyworm. Ivan's offered to make sure it's fit for consumption. Well, I say offered. He as good as begged.
And rightly so. Is there any higher honor than partaking in a slice of culinary history?
So, not fit for consumption then?
What witchery is this? The crackle of the crust gives way to an almost violent richness. Yet, it is the piquant kiss of the saint's bonnet that tames this savage dish. It is a tour de force, a force of nature even, a maelstrom of flavour and sensation, a graceful beast emerging from centuries of slumber.
I think he likes it.
Well, I can't quite tell with all that nonsense he's talking. But I reckon you might be right. It was decent then, I take it.
Decent? It's remarkable. And I defy any man to say a word to the contrary. Sid, might I suggest that you command a party of your finest men and women to procure a dozen blueback wyverns forthwith?
I'll give it some thought.